And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Open Connection. I'm your host, Robert Pictou. Our show today comes to you from the traditional and unceded territory of the Tsimshian people. Incorporated in 1965, Pacific Northern Gas Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of West Coast Transmission Company Limited, now Enbridge Inc. A transmission line was constructed in 1968 from a point 50 kilometers north of Prince George, west through to Prince Rupert and Kitimat on the British Columbia's west coast. On today's Open Connection, we open our archives to bring you this story from 2001.
Natural gas prices affect everyone, from low-income earners to public facilities to large million-dollar companies. On March 5th, the week-long public hearing began in Terrace to discuss Pacific Northern Gas's applications for rate increases over the past 5 months. The three interim measures being reviewed totaled an increase of 42.5% for residential customers. The BC Utilities Commission said the outcome from the hearing would be hard to please both P&G and its customers.
The Commission is faced with a section that requires it to ensure the utility has an opportunity to earn a fair return on its invested capital, and equally a requirement to ensure that rates are fair, just, and reasonable for ratepayers. And in these very difficult circumstances, finding a balance there is the objective.
The first intervener to speak at the public hearing was the mayor of Fort St. James, Jim Togi. He told the BC Utilities Commission that P&G's customers have been hit with a double whammy due to the uncertain future of Methanex and developments in the gas commodity price. Togi further added the reason he took part in the public hearing was to speak about the human side of the matter.
One of P&G's core values that they're always very proud of, and to tell everyone that they're very much concerned of the safety, and for that they provided servicemen in the communities. And it seems to us right now that it's a sort of a flip between return on investment to shareholders or safety. And I think that point had to be made today. And
one of the groups hardest hit by the increases of natural gas bills have been people with limited and low incomes.
And we see a lot of them coming in, and with the increases, it is very dramatic for them. You know, senior citizens, people on low income, they just have no way of making it up. And where is it going to? And that's why I think we really should address how we as a society are going to cope with these increases.
What they can do, possibly look at people who are low income and give them a break, is because we're not going to be able to feed our kids right or anything. You know, the stove's gas, the heat is gas. When I come home, I go every day to the doctor's, and when I come home, I turn my gas right off and get into a blanket to try and keep the bill down some. And I do that every day, and I don't turn it on at all until at night. So it's just, that's like third world, you know, that's not fair.
The 1988 Free Trade Agreement, we've agreed that whatever price they get in the United States, we can't charge cheaper. It has to be the same price. Free trade is the same for both. So if you will, it's like a tariff. We can't have a two-price system. And that's what happened in the energy program of Trudeau. With oil going up, he said, we'll charge the high price to Americans and we'll keep a low price for Canadians, and he did that. But that was before the free trade agreement. Now, the Americans are willing to pay $14, we have to pay $14.
A high number of frustrated Terrace residents have been streaming into home improvement stores looking for different heating options.
I think that's what people are looking for right now, is the bottom line is too high with the high cost of gas, so wood heat or an alternative wood type heat is the only direction a lot of people are going.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Thank you for staying with us. Air pollution comes from a variety of sources, some of the most important being the combustion of fossil fuels from industries, transportation, and heating. Pollution from these types of sources is not only a problem where it originates, it also travels long distances and reacts to other airborne chemicals. Let us return to the archives with then Houston Mayor Tom Everman.
Grace says the overall attitude of people coming into the store has been disgruntlement, and one customer was so tired of high rates, he made sure natural gas prices would no longer affect him.
We have run into some situations where our customers say, well, I'm so angry, I'm so fed up with this whole gas scenario that they've actually taken their appliances out, you know, and I mean, it's a bit drastic because you never know, gas may go down.
One result of more people using wood stoves is more smoke is being pumped into the air. The mayor of Houston told the BCUC he's concerned about poor air quality and blames the high price for natural gas.
There's others that are converting to wood stoves. Those that have had wood stoves, fireplace, are using them more. And in this day and age, with all the smoke from the wood stoves, it's becoming, again, a problem that used to be there.
Another way people are trying to cope with natural gas hikes is insulating their homes.
I insulated last fall on my own, and I noticed an increase in the fuel bill, but not as much as it would have been if I wouldn't have insulated. Another friend of mine that I insulated for, it's about at least a 50% increase in heat savings in the house.
Trapp says it's important residents keep the heat in the house, therefore keeping the gas bills down.
If they can't afford it, it's one thing, but if they can possibly afford it, they will actually save money in the long run by insulating. Most houses in this area were never built with proper insulation, and that doesn't date back that far, only a few years.
The school district has been trying to cope with the high rates as well and is reporting a shortfall of $230,000 due to natural gas bills. The provincial government has acknowledged the school districts are facing hardships and slated $9.23 million to address the energy costs.
This is a one-time only, they call it a special purpose grant to address, the totally unexpected, cost of energy. The industry next year may not be that willing. And that's what really we have to embark on, some kind of energy cost savings. What do you convert to what? At the end of the day, you still need to heat those buildings. The kids need warm classrooms. We should never forget, that the climate, and the environment is very important to students' learning.
The Bulkley Valley Regional Pool has also seen a huge change in its budget due to the high rates.
Prior to building the budget, we had called P&G and asked if there would be any changes in the upcoming year, and their answer was none that we know of. So we budgeted for a small increase, which is fortunate that we did. We are over budget on natural gas, $22,000 this year. The change from last year's price is $32,000. We were fortunate that we expected a little bit of an increase and budgeted that in, or we would be far worse off than we are now as far as our budget situation.
The final day of the public hearing into P&G's interim natural gas increases brought Methanex's CEO to the stand. Methanex's CEO, Pierre Chiquette, urged the BC Utilities Commission to approve P&G's recent rate increases, so the utility can sign its agreement in principle with Methanex. Chiquette says the challenge then is to bring the government into the deal.
But if there's no willingness at all to work with us, then I don't see a long-term future. And what I meant by alternatives is we would work with PAI to see, is there another place in the world where we can produce ammonia and methanol together that makes more sense than here.
Many different people from low-income earners, public facilities, and the large companies will be listening closely to the decision by the Commission on P&G's interim natural gas rate increases. The BCUC is expected to come to a decision sometime in April.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Open Connection. Playgrounds are a perfect place for kids to play, exercise, and interact with other children. Most adults have fond memories of playing on swings or seesaw or challenging other kids to races across the monkey bars. Let us return to the archives to meet an organizer of Smithers Youth Festival.
Our children are often called our greatest resource. Much of their early development is done here. But what sort of options exist for them after they graduate from the playground?
So an idea would be sort of...
A group from Smithers says not enough exists, and what's missing is a place for young people to just relax and hang out.
There's not a real place for teenagers to go at all, like a drop-in zone or anything.
Sean Evans is part of the group planning Youth Fest, an extravaganza of music, games, and good times, all geared at young people. Organizer Nathan Cullen says it's important that youth have somewhere to channel their energy.
I think inevitably this is a creative resource of people and talent, and they need to express that somehow. And I think a lot of those expressions turn into sometimes negative aspects. I think there's been a few incidences of vandalism and problems, and that only snowballs, and people start to get an impression that there's a youth problem and a youth issue, and it gets manifested in other ways, and we want to turn it into something a lot more positive than that.
There's sports, but not everybody has money for that, and the pool halls and the arcades are closed down, so especially in the winter, everybody just walks around in the cold weather.
Smithers isn't the only place where some are saying teens need more. A Burns Lake group is currently in meetings with Town Council about the possibility of bringing a youth center to Burns Lake. A drop-in center called The Zone did exist in Smithers, but funding was cut in 1999. Despite that, many teens choose to get involved in some of the organizations that do exist. One of those is 4-H. Dana Siddle is 15. She's been in 4-H for 8 years. Like many 4-H'ers, she works with an animal, her horse Callie, as her yearly project and can earn credits for graduation. Dana also competes in and wins public speaking competitions. Along with self-development, 4-H members qualify for scholarships and travel opportunities. And as leader Graham Johnstone explains, the program is not just about animals.
The whole 4-H program, of course, involves, and I quote really, knowledge, citizenship, self-confidence, and that's what we're doing today with the public speaking, is building the kids' self-confidence. There's more than just having a calf and raising it and selling it. There's a lot more in 4-H.
I've been able to go to the PNE and judge there on the team judging, and in the next couple years I'm going to go to Japan on the exchange, and you learn lots of husbandry skills. I've been in beef and horse, and you can relate the husbandry skills for that to any other animal, and you learn lots of public speaking skills and life skills that you need. I do recommend it because there's so much that you can do.
Hockey is said to be one of Canada's favorite national pastimes. For 18-year-old Derek Owen, that means a lot of fun and a lifelong commitment.
I love it. I'll never stop. I'm done minor hockey now, but I'll keep playing shinny or commercial, or I'll try to go on to juniors, or just keep playing hockey.
Owen feels that the Bulkley Valley offers a lot for young people.
There's tons of stuff. You can do, lots of people say, I don't have time for this and that, but I think you can make time for it, and there's tons of stuff.
Minor hockey's Don Peterson says hockey is one way to get young people off the streets.
We do have sometimes run into problem kids or whatever, and we try to emphasize them staying in hockey or try to keep them in hockey, regardless of what they do, or so that they don't get into trouble. Obviously the thing is, if they're not playing hockey, they're out somewhere else, and we do keep things like that in mind.
At Houston Secondary, sports like school basketball are one way to occupy spare time, while others enjoy the outdoors but say they could use more facilities.
Sport-wise, there's quite a few things to do. There's lots of drop-in programs, and there's lots of sports facilities around here, so you can play, but it'd be better if we could have more tournaments from other places like Smithers and Hazelton, have tournaments where you can make up your own team and just play with people from other towns.
For me, sports-wise, there is, because I like to do sports, and there's all kinds of sports to do, so I just tend to play the sports, and that takes up most of my time.
It'd be kind of nice if we could get enough people to get together and organize and get some land and make a track, because that'd get a lot of youth into it, and it'd keep a place where the police wouldn't have any complaints, and it'd just be better for everyone.
Other options in Houston include being proactive in school events or taking part in student leadership.
Student leadership, we
organize dances, we do barbecues, we do like everything that involves students. And we do that because our school's not very big and we kind of need something to do because our town's not very big. So it's like something for me to do in my spare time and besides school, and it's really fun because you meet like different types of people.
There used to be a pool hall where teenagers could go, but they closed that down, and they lost the pool referendum, so we don't have a very good pool in town. So student leadership and all these other is about the only thing for me to do because I don't like sports.
Now that I have the chance, I can give back to the school, and so I kind of joined it because of that and because of the credit system, because we get 4 credits for joining it.
Some of these activities can be costly or require a big time commitment. So with drop-in centers still on the horizon, what about activities that require little time or money? Eva Jaycox of the Affordable Recreation Project in Smithers is part of a group trying to bring about just that, affordable recreation.
The Affordable Recreation Guide, in which youth were very involved in creating this, and we're very grateful, has a lot of opportunities for affordable things you can do for $3 or less. And as well, they have opportunities for volunteering in exchange for entrance and things like that. And all kinds of contacts that are difficult to find are in this guide. You can get it at the town office or the Smithers Public Library and other locations in the Bulkley Valley as well.
One accomplishment of the Affordable Rec project was to bring in discount swim nights. Bulkley Valley Pool Manager Shirley Beebe says staff are committed to providing activities geared towards youth.
We have 2 teen events scheduled on either side of March break. On the 16th of March, we have a pre-teen event. And on the 23rd, we have a teen party. And those are all Friday night events at reduced cost with lots of special events for kids.
Right now, youth are saying that they need more affordable recreation opportunities in the Bulkley Valley. There isn't enough right now. And we're working with youth. We strive to have more youth involved in the project, and we're working to solve that.
At Youth Fest, coming up May 12th, the group hopes to have a speaker's corner where they will gather input from perhaps the most important group concerned about youth options, the teens themselves.
A lot of the places where youth could congregate in the past have been shut down, and we're looking to make it, at least for one night, and hopefully have some spin-offs, a place where they can come and have a good time and learn about what's going on in their community.
So whether it's involvement in an organized group, bringing in drop-in centers, or just having occasional recreation available, all involved seem to agree. What's most important is having options open for our youth.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
The first official Indian Friendship Center was incorporated in Winnipeg in April 1959. And by the 1970s, friendship centers were sprouting up all across British Columbia. The original funding came from private foundations and from provincial and federal governments. Today, there are 25 friendship centers across BC. In this final segment of Open Connection, let us return to the archives with Prince Rupert Friendship House.
Opened 2 years ago, Planet Youth is operated by Prince Rupert's Friendship House. The center was established as a result of several studies done by local and federal agencies, which identified a need for facilities of the like not only in the city, but right across the country.
It was basically identified from youth that the main thing they thought was there was a youth center needed in Prince Rupert, and that's been going on for quite a few years. And then, of course, it was identified nationally through the National Association of Friendship Centers that there was a big need and demand for some kind of a youth center, particularly for Aboriginal youth.
Like many Friendship House programs, Planet Youth services kids from low-income families. Over the time that it's been in existence, the center has garnered a loyal following.
I believe we're having between 40 and 50 on average per day, and I think it varies, of course, during the year. We have, during the summer months, I think it goes up significantly because, of course, school is out, and we get a lot of, since mostly low-income kids are coming here, that's and a lot of them go on holidays. This is where a lot of them can come and get free services and free activities such as swimming, being able to go to movies, being able to go to play some mini golf, and of course take advantage of the programs that we have here.
A lot of the kids who frequent the center are coming from unstable home environments. It's believed they are able to find a sense of fellowship with kids from similar backgrounds.
They have a little bit of a camaraderie here, and they're being exposed, of course, to some other alternatives to maybe become more independent, such as the cooking club, and finding out about alternative education programs and employment opportunities as well. And these are things that we've got kind of going a bit as far as referring kids to certain services and agencies and having information available here. But we're hoping, of course, to expand upon greatly if this funding does indeed come through and really build up on employment training and career counseling and also expanding education.
A lot of the kids here, the regulars that we have, are here from opening till closing. Some of them don't even go home for dinner, and sometimes. So, and we just provide this comfortable atmosphere, I guess, that they can hang out with their friends.
Even though there are rules and guidelines, one of the reasons the center has such a comfortable atmosphere is because it truly is a place to hang out away from authority figures.
Well, we've gotten close to some of them. Some of them will go one-on-one counseling if they want to open up to us and talk to us about problems, and that just makes it comfortable for them to be around too. We don't have this complete authority figure in their eyes with some of them.
There have been a lot of concerns expressed in a number of Northwest communities about kids and teens out on the streets vandalizing both public and private property. The center doesn't necessarily believe all of the blame rests with the younger generation, but it also has taken steps to give them an outlet if the desire should arise.
It's not entirely the youth that are doing it all the time anyways. I mean, there's people my age that still vandalize. But, we have a graffiti wall here too that they just totally take advantage of. And that it has its own rules too. There's no profanity or anything. And in the ones that do vandalize that we hear of, they don't ever come here either.
It won't be the Nisga'a Nation that will make that decision, I believe. I believe that it will be the constituents in British Columbia. We're having a severe backlash now with respect to not only Nisga'a treaty discussions, but treaty discussions province-wide. And there seems to be a backlash that is growing, and if it continues to grow and negotiations are halted, then Aboriginal people will have no other option open except to go back to court and let the justice system work itself out.
I have to remind listeners that this great debate for us didn't just start 2 years ago. It began 100 years ago. I'm being asked by my people why this further delay in introducing settlement legislation from the federal viewpoint. They're the only party required now to acknowledge the negotiated principles contained in the treaty.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Open Connection. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but the connection from his mind and heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Pictou.